10X Blueprint Academy out of New York and Global Capital Inc. continue to do a high level of research into the top 100 companies in the world. And some of those things that we're looking at are what make these institutions, the top 100 companies in the world, different. What are those driving forces behind their success story? Is it access to capital, access to the right human resources, access to the right education, or access to a multiple layer of enabling environment? Those are some of the questions we are asking. Those are some of the answers that we are finding. And we will continue to bring this high level of information to you that will help you to make better business decisions and put you in a much better position to grow, diversify, and scale and leapfrog your operation. Today, we will do definitely a deep dive into the financial markets and how access to a strong corporate financial market can play a significant role in moving businesses forward. But just before I get into today's program, do permit me to introduce myself. My name is Gary Thompson. I'm a business development consultant by profession. I'm a humanitarian by nature, and I'm the self-published, multiple best-selling author for several books, and that includes Managers Toolkits and Business Code. And today I will also be reading from my new book titled 10X Branding and Marketing Blueprint. And of course, this book in itself is the book where we are documenting a lot of those research that we are doing across the world now, particularly so in North America. We are studying the top 100 companies out of America, out of Singapore, across the world. And we're going to be presenting a lot of those data to you so you can really begin to shape your mindset as to what they are doing and the support systems that are in place to really help them to leapfrog their operation and make billions of dollars annually in their annual revenue. Now, if you're in business and you intend to get into business, I want to encourage you to like, subscribe, and share. Press that notification button so you will be the first to get these data that we are bringing out to you on a regular basis. Now, to get today's program started, and of course, we're going to be doing a deep dive into capital markets, and you don't want to miss it because I'm going to be presenting a number of new systems that are out there, a number of innovative approaches that we believe can use not only by developed economies, but by developing the economies. So strap yourself in and remember, this is not a lecture. I would like this to be a conversation. It's a network where we can share ideas. So you may have questions. I want you to send those questions in the chat box, and I want you to feel free to either ask your questions or communicate your views in relation to the issues that are going to be discussed today and in other programs. But I begin today's program by reading an extract from the book 10X Branding and Marketing Blueprint, The Psychology of Business. And I begin. In the United States of America alone, there are about 32.9 million businesses that are registered. The United States Business Registry captured more than 160,000 multi-establishment company that represents 1.8 million affiliate businesses, 5 million single established companies, and nearly 21 million non-employers businesses. Now, this is a statement. It is saying that the non-employers represent more than 3/4 of the job market in the United States. But it's also saying a whole lot more, but I'm not going to get into the whole lot more. However, the fact is that small businesses play a tremendous role in job creation, because we are seeing that the non-employed represent 21 million businesses that falls into this category. Later on, we will do a diagnostic into the level of cash flow potential that these businesses are experiencing. We'll also be looking at some of the factors as to why and if these businesses are scaling, and we'll make recommendations as to how we see that they can adopt to broadly from their brand. But I continue. Across the world, research is showing that millions of micro, small, and medium-sized companies struggle to raise capital to scale their brands. Research done by 10X B&M LLC and Global Capital Inc. show that there is a need for a deeper understanding of how debt, equity, and credit, smart capital market. So this is what research is showing, that there's a need for a deeper understanding of how debt, equity, credit, and capital market works. And we'll look at some of that today. Now, a better understanding of capital market portfolios, capital market access strategies, capital market smart leverage, and capital markets mitigation strategies can give businesses or business leaders easier and smoother access to capital and a greater chance to build an international brand. And this is what the book is saying. Now remember, we have researched these data and we are presenting them to you to help businesses across the world to make better and more informed decisions as to how you can scale your business. Accounting finance is very important for the financial management and financial accountability of every business. However, it must be noted that a deeper understanding of finance and international capital market culture and the ability to integrate these financial culture into the management structure of the firm is vital to compete in today's global market. So we are proposing in this book that is not only to understand the global financial system or international capital markets, but it's important to identify how to incorporate these models into your brand, into your business. And as time progresses, we will go deep into all of this to ensure that you have this kind of information. Yes, you may be in a country that may only be providing debt capital, but what is there that is restricting you from accessing equity capital or credit capital or smart capital? Those are things that we will discuss, and those are facts that we will present to you that will help you to adopt a different approach in terms of how you can do business. As I said again, we at 10X Blueprints Academy out of New York and Global Capital Inc., we are committed to this process of bringing a high level of market intelligence and financial management data to businesses and our clients across the world, so as to ensure that you're making better business decisions. I want to continue reading from my book, 10X Blueprint and 10X Branding and Marketing Blueprint. Financial intelligence is more than making money and maximizing disposable income. It addresses the issue of understanding the global financial market and leveraging this intelligence to build good debt cash flow, minimize debt portfolio, while maximizing financial and equity capital gain. The understanding of the commercial financial sector and the investment financial sector are an important body of knowledge in the global landscape of financial intelligence that any modern business leaders should invest the time, talent, and the resources to learn, apply, and master. You want to ensure that your workforce, your financial leadership department, that is not only responsible for the accounting best practices, they're not only responsible for money going in and money going out of the company through the regular sale, but they are also responsible for raising capital to deal with business growth, expansion, and business integration into local, regional, and international trade. Those players in your organization, whether they're in your organization or they're subcontractors, they are the subject matter experts who can provide these expertise to you. It's important that they understand these capital market dynamics, these capital market mix, and they can easily leverage that intelligence to position your business to do much better. This is what we are talking about at Global Capital Inc. that specialize in looking at capital markets across the world, and the 10X Blueprint Academy, and the 10X Branded and Marketing LLC out of New York that specialize in everything branding and marketing. I continue to read, but just before, remember, if you're in business or you intend to get into business, I want to encourage you to like, subscribe, and share. And so as to ensure that you are the first to get this information that we are bringing to you on a regular basis. Press that subscription button so you'll be the first to be notified when these information are being published. I continue to read. 10X Branded and Marketing, the Psychology of Business, is designed to give new and practical insight into branding and marketing management systems, financial intelligence systems, leadership and self-mastery systems, brand leadership and innovative approaches to help businesses to become dominant market players. So of course, the vision behind this book is not just to provide you with the data on branding and marketing or on financial leadership, but it's important for you to understand leadership and the mindset behind all of this, because you can have all of the information. Your workforce may have all of the information, but the right leadership skills to adopt, internalize, apply this information is a subject matter that we are also concerned about. And this is precisely why at 10X Branded and Marketing LLC and 10X Blueprint Academy, combined with Global Capital Inc., our interest is not just in providing, a high level of training content, but of course we are looking at mentorship and coaching and support to ensure that what you learn in the classroom or what you learn in the boardroom, you are in a strategic position to apply this information because of the mentorship, because of support, the coaching, and because of support that we're going to be giving you at the back end to ensure that we're helping you to leapfrog your operation. And of course, this all is coming by studying the top 100 companies in the world. And a number of the recommendations that you're going to be getting from our subject matter expert, they're going to be all aligned to helping you to get there. Continue to read from that book. Millions of managers and leaders across the world understand the process of creating debt, but very few understand the process of managing debt and building debt life cycle reduction strategies that can save their company, millions of dollars in annual revenue. Now, let me explain this because I just don't want the public to jump to conclusion. And this is exactly why our CPAs, certified public accountants, and our marketing team, our financial specialists, our venture capitalists that we work with, and private equity investors, those persons in those space, we continue to say that accounting financing is very, very important. And we can never trivialize the importance of accounting finance. But in this space of business, it's important, and it's really important to understand not just how to access debt, not just how to access equity, not just how to access credit, but it's to understand perhaps if you can access credit at 0% APR. Is to know if you can access debt in a manner that regardless of the interest rates, you're able to leverage debt mitigation tools that can help the business, the brand to save hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars on that particular debt portfolio. Again, these are new areas of studies that we are going into at Global Capital Inc. and 10X Branded and Marketing LLC out of America, so as to ensure that we are giving businesses who might just be saddled with a debt capital market at high interest rate to still access those capital and to also identify new and improved innovative approaches to mitigate that debt cost and still attain the debt at a significantly lower cost. And this is quite legal, but it requires you to understand the principal balance. It entails that you understand the debt life cycle. It entails that you understand how to manage the principal balance. And it entails that you understand debt mitigation tools, all right, that can serve as performing assets. Performing assets that is performing divorce from a high intense labor force. So those are some technical things that we will get into with the client base to really help you to truly understand what we're saying. So I made this explanation so as to be certain that accountants out there are not saying that we are trivializing the role of accountancy. I will never do that. You guys have a tremendous role to play in managing businesses across the world. Or I take my hats off to you, kudos to you. But I'm just simply saying that we need to combine your skill set with a critical knowledge of what capital market represents, meaning both the debt, equity, credit, and smart capital, along with the debt mitigation tools to really give businesses a stronger chance to compete and win. In fact, I'm saying this large based on the fact because we are fully aware that the top 100 companies in the world, they have been leveraging some of these tools to their advantage. And we are quite certain that if businesses across the world truly understand the systems that can be leveraged to give their businesses the capital advantage, so much more can be achieved. So I trust again that you're enjoying the content, the information. Again, if you're in business or intend to get into business, I want to encourage you to like, subscribe, and share, and press that notification bell so you will be the first to get this information that we're bringing to you on a daily basis. So this is as much that I'm going to read for you today from my book, 10X Branding and Marketing LLC. And remember, we don't only have the book, we have a number of masterclass that have been designed from this book to really ensure that we are working with businesses, micro, small, medium, and large scale businesses to bring a different quality, a high level of information after studying the top 100 companies in the world and how they are operated. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the stock market. I want to talk a little bit about the SEC, the Security Exchange Commission, and I want to talk a little bit about corporate finance, because all of this has to do with the subject matter that we're talking about, businesses and access to capital and so much more, because access to capital is not a where-it-all for the success of business. But for this discussion, let's try to zero in on the stock market. Let's try to zero in on the SEC. Let's try to zero in on, capital markets. Now, today we have over 1 billion shares that changes hands on the New York Stock Exchange market. That tells a story. It tells a story. And later on, I want to go much deeper into all of this in terms of how this represents corporate finance, how it represents trade in the market, and how it affects investment management. A strong stock exchange market needs to have not just a strong capital market portfolio, is not being backed just by a strong capital market portfolio, but they are being backed by a strong traded on the market portfolio, a strong investment capital market portfolio, along with a strong regulatory systems that is coming from the SEC, the Security Exchange Commission, or the Security Exchange Council, depending on which part of the world you're in. Now, it's important for us to stop a little bit and just look at the New York Stock Exchange market, because the New York Stock Exchange market represents history. This institution has been officially registered on the 17th of May 1792, and that's about 228 years ago. So we are not just calling these institutions because we want to call them as a reference point, but we are referencing them because of the history. So there's a lot of information that as time progresses, we will be able to talk to our audience and our clients about these sectors and how to really, understand them. I must also say that one of the reasons that this is an important talking point for us, because as we talk about debt leverage and debt mitigation, it's important to understand the financial market. It's important to understand the stock market. Why? Because very often we talk about front-end analytics as against back-end analytics. And this is what we see happen a whole lot. There are people and entrepreneurs who may have excess liquidity, and they are looking for a way to invest to increase their disposable income. But that investment decision is based on what we call front-end analytics, where you hear something about the success of a business model or a particular stock when you make that decision. No, we cannot encourage you to do that. We do back-end. And here is where a clear understanding of the top 100 companies really informs those back-end decisions. And here is where we do in-depth market analysis to understand the historical realities behind the company, not just the financial historical data, but we analyze a range of other things in relation to those companies so as to ensure that you're getting the best, the most informed decision as relates to making that investment decision. That investment decision can tremendously change the lives of people. So you need to be certain that you're making a solid investment decision. But we are not here to go into all of that today. I'm just trying to lay the foundation of a solid explanation as to why we are going to be looking at these scenarios. So the Security Exchange, which is necessary, it's a regulatory body that regulates the entire stock exchange market that has been registered in America since 1934. And that again speaks a story. They have 4 major functions, and I've already given you a hint on that. But having gone through that, I want us to dig in a little deep into one of the the major challenge that we are seeing businesses are going through, some in even the developed world, because in the introduction I did say that we have like 21 million non-employers companies that are registered in the United States of America. That means that we have 21 million persons who are own a business, but they are not employing anyone. I'm not going to do the analysis of the strength of that business, but it makes a very strong statement. All right. Now, one of the things that we want to look at, why is it that these businesses are not scaling? And we ask the question, is it access to capital? Is it access to the right human resources? Is it access to the right education? Or is it access to multiple layers of support systems that can help them to achieve the milestone? Or are they just comfortable being a sole trader, being self-employed, because they're able to cash flow perhaps a little above or above what they will normally get from the traditional work hours? All of those realities may influence the growth, and development and expansion of a business. But let's talk about the serious businesses, the serious entrepreneurs, the global thinkers, the social actors, the transformational leaders, the game changers, the trendsetters. Let's talk about that mindset, and the people that wants to go. Let's talk about the Fortune 500. Let's talk about the top 100 companies who really want to move a process forward, but they have some difficulties. All right, let's talk about their reality. And again, from the research that we are seeing, is that in the developed world, the top 100 companies, they not only have access to debt capital. In fact, many of these entities in their startup phase, they had access to credit capital. And that is something in the developing economies and middle-income economies, we do not have access to those type of capital. Now, what is so unique about these capital? One, with having your SSN, your social security number, you can simply leverage that to access credit capital market. It's simply having a fixed board of address, you're able to leverage these markets. And they are very meager credit checks that might be done in order to enable you to access the credit. Now, if you are an individual that truly understand the credit capital market and how to leverage it, and of course, these businesses, the research is sure that many of these businesses leverage these portfolios in their startup. When you truly understand this, it can open up a number of windows, a number of doors that allows you to access multiple credit facilities simultaneously, giving you access to much needed capital to employ the right people, to do the right public relation and marketing and branding, and to position your business, your brand, your ideas across different portfolios. The inability to access those portfolios can prevent all of that from happening. So it's important for us to stop the go slow in amplifying discussion around the important need for a mixed capital market as we speak to the interests of private sector sustainable development. It's absolutely necessary for us to raise and amplify the conversation that we are having in developing economies and middle-income economies who do not have access to these portfolios. It's absolutely necessary. As we talk about credit capital market, it's also important for us to understand equity capital market. And again, there are a range of opportunities that lies in the equity capital space. Tremendous opportunities lies here. But are we amplifying conversation loud enough across sectors to help these sector beneficiaries to nurture a clearer understanding of what opportunities lies out there? Are we amplifying conversation loud enough to enable the beneficiary to make informed and educated decisions? This is not the time to play politics as it relates to truly identifying and truly taking informed action to create an enabling environment to stimulate private sector development. Is the conversation being amplified? No. From my research and from my perspective across the region, the developing economies, middle-income economies, perhaps more work has to be done. And these are my reasons for saying this. Are we hearing enough about venture capitalists? And what are the portfolios that exist here? Strategies to access these portfolios, smart systems to leverage these portfolios, and understanding a smart mitigation platform. What I'm saying here should never be taken lightly because we're talking about not just accessing, not just leveraging, but leveraging these portfolios in the smartest ways that allows you to get out of debt in a manner that does not hurt the operation. And I have to speak here because of the fact that the research is also saying that in developing economies, there are tremendous fear that exists when people hear about venture capitalists, when people hear about private equity investment. The perception is that you have to give an arm and a leg to get access to capital, and you may lose control of the operation. That is not necessarily so. But the perception exists largely because we have to ask ourselves the question, is there enough conversation amplified enough to ensure that we are communicating information clearly and effectively to the beneficiary so as to ensure that they are making the right decision? For those who may want to leverage a venture capitalist platform, a private equity platform, or those who might want to leverage merger and acquisition, for those who might want to leverage private and joint venture partnership. Enough conversation is not being had here, at least not in a public place. Global Capital Inc. and the 10X Branding and Marketing LLC out of New York, we intend to speak to these issues because we are tremendously concerned about businesses that has the potential to grow, diversify, and scale, make impact that are not doing so. At this stage, we're going to be providing a lot of information and education about these issues. And as time progresses, there's so much more that we will be looking at for businesses across the region and the world. I want to throw a few other things in the mix here as we discuss private equity and portfolios. Is there enough conversation about IPOs, initial public offer? There is a need for more conversation around here. Again, there's tremendous fear among the micro, small, and perhaps some of the medium-sized businesses when it comes to IPO. Is there enough conversation here? Is there enough conversation around LBO, leverage buyout? Let me tell you some good stories here about the LBO. The research that we are doing across the world is also showing that many innovators, in fact, you have creative thinkers who start an operation, scale that operation, using strategic branded and marketing systems and a number of management tools to carry that business to a certain level. As soon as it reached there, they take it to LBO, leverage buyout, where they're able to generate hundreds of thousands and millions of US dollars, and perhaps that becomes their retirement plan. Because with that kind of cash flow, they don't have to think about money in a long time. I'm saying here, this is part of financial intelligence. And I'm saying that if you're a serious entrepreneur and you want to understand these systems, you're at the right place. This kind of conversation has to be amplified in the interest of ensuring that across the region, not only in the developed world, but across the region, developing and middle-income economies, we are providing them with the kind of information that really enables them to start thinking like the top 100 leaders. What about asset management? Is there a way to leverage asset management portfolio? As I did said today, we're going to be looking at new and improved and a number of innovative approaches that some is being used in the developed world, and some other parts of the world is not being used. Can asset management portfolios be leveraged? And this is one of the reasons why I'm saying a strong stock exchange market has to be taken serious consideration of the dynamic role that corporate capital plays, that trading in the market plays, that investment management plays, and a healthy, supportive, strong regulatory system in play in building out this body to have this universal effect on social and economic progress. Are we amplifying conversation enough about asset management portfolios? Like SWF, Sovereign Wealth Funds. We see in countries across the world, many of those countries, they take their SWF funds and they deposit it outside of the country. And of course, the justifiable reason for that is that they're going to get a higher return. Is that facts or is it myth? Is it possible that some of those resources can stay right within with your best thinkers, your innovative thinkers, your creative thinkers, your forward thinkers, your global thinkers, social actors, and transformational leaders? I would want to believe that you have a number of them on your side that can truly take this capital, put it on the asset management. But of course, as we at Global Capital Inc. and 10X Blueprint Academy, 10X Branded and Marketing LLC, we are not just talking about access to capital portfolio. If you really follow me very clearly, the right mindset will look at the capital portfolio. The right mindset will look at capital leverage. The right mindset will look at debt mitigation. And as you look at debt mitigation, here is exactly where you're able to minimize the risk associated with allocating the capital. But along with minimizing the risk, you're able to significantly optimize the potential of the portfolio to cash flow. Are you saying that the reason that we don't have this enough conversation around this in developing and middle-income economies is largely because we don't have the brain power? Well, if we don't have the brain power, we should invest in getting the brain power. We need it. All right. So what about pension funds? What about insurance funds? Now, across the world, we are seeing that we have pension funds, we have insurance funds. And let's look at this just a little bit. You have a pension fund portfolio that's on the asset management. You take those funds go outside. But let's look a little bit at the fund. Let's just look at a hypothetical scenario. You have a pension fund, an insurance fund that is representing 100,000 individuals. Each one of those persons, they make a deposit of about $1,000 per month to the pension fund, this pension scheme. Now, 100,000 persons depositing $1,000 per month to that pension fund, it simply means that every single month you have sitting in that fund about $100 million. Multiply by 12, you have $1.2 billion that is going to go under asset management. And that is as a conservative figure based on the numbers that we have looked at. Depending on population size and a range of other issues, that figure will tremendously go up into billions of dollars. Is it possible that a modern business economy can develop the kind of partnership, can have the public-private partnerships that can truly address these issues? Are we having an amplified enough conversation around these issues? Now, I make this point because I have been in management consultancy for over 20 years. And across the developing economies, middle-income economies, some of the complaints that exist 20 years ago in terms of access to capital, access to human resources, access to markets, access to a holistic enabling environment still exist today, after 20 years. Are we having enough conversation that is amplified with our innovative, creative thinkers, with our global thinkers, our social actors, or our transformational leaders, our social influencers about this subject matter, that we can now begin to address it? There's more work to be done from the research that we are doing. This is not an attack, this is simply research data. And we are trusting that we can have a number of stakeholders on board to really support the vision. Are we having enough conversation around endowments, university endowments that can be used? Are we talking enough about accredited investors? So there's a lot of work that we see that can be done to really give micro, small, medium, and perhaps even the large businesses true opportunity to access capital at more competitive strategies, using more diversified portfolios. We, based on the research that we're doing, we are certain that this can significantly help to leapfrog development. And yes, we know that we will have the skepticism in relation to what is being said. But we've also talked about you, we have also considered your position and what we're saying, and I want to emphasize this. We are not just talking about capital portfolio. We are talking about smart ways to access those capital. We're talking about smart ways to leverage your capital, which means that it's important for you to understand long before you access the debt, how that debt is going to cash flow. That means you need to understand your market accommodators and your market enablers. So with your brightest people on board, working through these systems to minimize all risk associated with access to capital, you have nothing to worry about. Along with this, we talk about debt mitigation strategies. And understanding debt mitigation strategies is something to smile about, because what it literally does is remove the risk associated with debt. So we are not just saying create these markets and free up finances. We're talking about this in a financially responsible manner. All right. There's a lot of historical data to look at. When we study the JP Morgan, we study the Blackstone, we study the Goldman Sachs, we study some of the big global intermediaries and some of the boutique intermediaries. They started somewhere. Perhaps it is time that in developing economies and developed middle-income economies, start to amplify conversation around this. In my view, the time is long overdue. After spending 20 plus years as a consultant, working with entrepreneurs who have dreams, hopes, and aspirations, who has the potential to leapfrog, but the multiple enabling environments, the diverse enabling environment is not there to take them. Here's a subject matter that we need to amplify. Again, I must say, if you're in business, or you intend to get into business, and you find this content interesting, I want to encourage you to like, subscribe, share, press that notification button, so you will be the first to get these information that we are bringing to you on a regular basis. In this program, we talk a lot about everything branding and marketing, because without branding and marketing, you have no brand reach. But even before we come to brand reach, branding and marketing really enables you to strengthen your value proposition. And your value proposition must be built out in the modern world to impact your workforce, impact the specific target market, influence the public, and by extension, significantly position your brand to significantly cash flow. So branding and marketing helps you with this, all of this, but it goes beyond this. It helps you to build up the visibility, to reach the impact, the conversion, to achieve confidence, trust, and credibility. We walk you through all of these processes, but beyond this, all right, Global 10X Branding and Marketing LLC look at everything branding and marketing. Global Capital, we look at everything financial market, where you will learn more about debt capital, equity capital, credit capital, and smart capital. All right. So I trust you enjoyed today's program. Again, my name is Gary Thompson. I'm a business development consultant by profession. I'm a humanitarian by nature. And I'm the self-published best-selling author for several books, including Billionaire Codes and Manager's Toolkit. Today, I speak with you using extract from the new book titled 10X Branding and Marketing Blueprint, the Psychology of Business. Very soon, you're going to be having this book, but for the moment, I'm just whetting your appetite for this book. Remember also, we provide top-class training. We use information from the top 100 companies that are generating billions of dollars annually. And of course, you know, they're generating more money than a lot of developing economies. And we bring you some of those data. Along with that, we introduce you new innovative approaches that we see can be harnessed to really give you the competitive advantage in doing business. All right, so it has been a pleasure to be with you. Do remember to like, subscribe, share, press that notification button. And if you know anyone who is in business and want to learn more, I truly ask you and encourage you to share this information, share this podcast with them so you can help us to really grow this channel. Be blessed, be safe. See you in the next broadcast. And feel free to reach out to us at any time for a free consultation on the subject matter. All right, keep following me, and I'm going to be bringing to you some significant information in relation to growing your business. Be blessed. See you soon.